Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. Are you a parent who looks back at their parenting journey and just shakes their head and wonders, how could I have done that to my kids? Or who looks back at their mistakes and feels a tremendous amount of guilt? I know I certainly do that to myself. I look back at all my mistakes and I really regret so many things I've said or done to my child. I wish I could go back in time and erase all of that. I wish I could be the parent I am now back then. This guilt that we parents feel, and especially mothers, is really a struggle to deal with. And if you're a parent who has dealt with mother guilt, or with guilt in general, then this episode is going to offer you tremendous insight and guidance. Coming up next, a mother who is in the throes of mommy guilt. We're now going to meet with Leah. She's the mother of a 6-year-old daughter and wants to know what is the best way to prevent spoiling her since she's the only child. Hi, Leah. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks so much for having me on.
So tell me what this fear is about and why you think you may be someone who needs some help in this area.
Yeah, totally. So, as a team management expert in my work, I always try to bring that same expertise to the home, right? Especially the advice I would give a manager who only has one team member. But I know that it's so much more nuanced with a kid, especially a younger child. And I just want to make sure I'm doing it right. Like I don't have another one to kind of bounce off on. A lot of my friends have 2 kids, so I kind of see how they interact. And so what I want to really make sure is, am I too involved? Am I babying her? Am I kind of saying yes to too many things because I don't have like more kids to kind of spread it across the attention and the resources?
Yeah, well, it seems like you have your own career and you're very interested in your own passions. That's correct, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good thing. So that can be quote unquote another baby. But you're very right and wise to be aware of this because in the modern era, where we have more resources, more things on our fingertips, it's more easy for us to just keep giving to our children.
Yeah.
And indulging to our children. So your child has, unlimited attention from her parents, at least from you, unlimited care, unlimited indulgence, plus resources. Plus we're living in a time where, they literally can get any desire met. So there is a very legitimate fear to overindulge her and overgive to her. So let me ask you, is there a part of you that's a very high functioning kind of fixer energy that you have?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So it's easy for you to do things, right?
Yeah.
You're competent. And this is what I often say to very competent women who are very empathic, that we create dependency amongst those around us because we can do everything so fast and we can do everything so well. And we're so loving. We like to do these things. So then we actually, without realizing, create these kind of parasites around us who suck on our blood and then they don't know how to use their own resources. And I'm not saying that's what your daughter is doing. I'm just saying, I don't know whether you've had a history of attracting people like that who take from you, because you're a giver.
It's such a good point. And I noticed that can happen, especially in my work when I used to be in the corporate world, kind of helping fix everybody's problem, and then folks wouldn't be accountable for themselves. So I totally see what you're saying. And I think that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is the monster in the room that we need to take care of because it comes out of your body and you do things without realizing it, right? I did this I have one child as well. And I could see how I was creating this codependency. I was creating an enmeshment. I was creating this over-reliance on me, not because my child was necessarily a dependent child, but because I needed to feel like I was the most amazing person in the room, the most amazing mother, the most amazing giver. But then when you only have one child, then you can overdo it with that one child, right?
Yeah.
So what I would encourage you is to pay attention to that tendency in you to fill in the gaps, to fix and find solutions. Make her feel like she is so important that she has a misplaced grandiosity about who she is in the world. And that happens in the micro moments though. So when she asks for water, but she can go get it herself, she needs to go get it herself.
Yeah.
If she says, Mommy, one more bedtime story, but you're tired, it's okay to be tired, right? Because that's what would happen if she had siblings.
Right.
Mommy would be distracted. Mommy would be tired. So you have to kind of simulate that so that she learns to wait her turn. She learns to be disappointed. Just imagine if you had 5 children, what would happen? She'd have to wait. She'd cry. But she would learn that, she's not the most important person in the room. She'd have to share you. She'd have to deal with her own boredom while she was waiting for mommy. So create that in a simulated way because you don't have it in a natural way.
Yeah.
Build in that disappointment.
Yeah.
Disappointment is going to be something that's a good muscle for an only child because only children, get too much too quickly.
Yeah. And I see that, right? I see even when she's playing with other kids, she'll get frustrated first, right? Because she's not used to having to share that. And so I really love the idea, I think, kind of first starting with her getting her own things, obviously cleaning up her own messes is something that I could get better at, even in her room and around when she's finishing an activity. And also, not just saying yes to the next thing because I don't have to spread that resource because I do find myself I am tired. I have to go back to work I was doing or she wants me to play with her and kind of entertain her from one activity to the next. So I really see what you're saying around creating some of those just natural gaps where, we can have our time together, but it's not always in every moment she's wanting it.
Right.
Yeah.
So because you can, like I said, we have the resources, we have the time, we have the energy because we have just one kid. Just because of that, she's going to get a misunderstanding of reality because you're going to be catering to her at all times, right?
Yeah.
So build in some obstacles like mommy has to work or mommy's tired or not right now, delay her gratification. Imagine you're working in the fields, back then, or you're to go hunting for berries, or I don't know. This one focused attention is actually detrimental.
Yeah.
And even 2 or 3 children in the home, given the resources that we now have, even those children get too much, right?
Yeah.
It's not about that the child gets too much. It's about what effect that has in their personality. They don't become resourceful. They're not resilient. They're not problem solving. They don't have any quote unquote small t traumas to kind of work through. So you have to kind of build in the little problems of life, right?
Yeah.
Let things break down. Act like you don't have enough money, right? No, I cannot buy the toy right now, even though it's so cheap and you only have 1 kid. So you think, why not? But no. So you act like you have 10 children. Act like you have a lot of things to do because that will teach her that the world doesn't revolve around her. And she will learn patience. She will learn to share. She will learn that resources are not just going to fall into her lap. They are available, but they're not immediately available. And those are good lessons to learn.
Yeah, I love that. And, I'm curious, you mentioned some overcompensating maybe, because I travel a lot for work. I do consulting with companies all over the world. And I imagine you travel a lot with with your work and having 1 kid. How do you balance some of that, wanting to come back and spend a lot of time, but then not overdoing it when you're coming back,
Yeah. So what you're talking about is guilt of the working mother, right? And every working mother has this guilt. But the non-working mother has a different kind of guilt. What example am I offering, even though they don't need to have that guilt? But working mothers have this guilt. So guilt, I find, has really messed me up in my life because, like you said, it creates this overcompensatory need to be extra. And again, then we give our children this idea that we've done something wrong, and then they can hold it against us and over us. So we can't give into it. So you have to come to a place where you feel comfortable accepting that you work for your sanity, which is for her sanity. You work for the well-being of her, so therefore there's no guilt, right?
Yeah.
So we feel guilty because we feel as if we are doing something wrong. And that's never a good thing to operate from. So can you embrace that you are working because it is for your well-being, which means it's for her well-being, and that you are working for the financial well-being of your house. So take away the guilt so that when you come back, you can act like matter of fact, like I had to go, but now I'm back. I had to work, but now I'm back. So you don't overcompensate because you're really doing nothing wrong. Now, if you are a workaholic and you are working to the point where you are not being able to be present,
Right.
then that's something you can examine within yourself.
Literally, I feel a weight lifted as you said that because, yeah, and I love my work and she sees how happy I am with that. So I'm almost creating like I should feel guilty when I'm traveling when she's totally good and has family
Yeah.
and her dad and support. So it's kind of like not to buy into that.
No, and actually, the natural way is for children to be with many caregivers. It is not natural for them to be with one caregiver 24/7. So
Yeah.
that is not a good burden for you to take on yourself. So outsource her care with lovely people, of course,
Yeah.
but the more lovely people she has in her life, through community, through her friends, her friends' parents. This is way much better than you being there 24/7. This mythology that the mother especially needs to be there 24/7. For the first 2 years, yes, the mother should be around. But even then, we should have support from the grandmothers and the aunties. So this mythology is a Western industrialist, capitalist mythology, which has actually ruined families because it puts too much pressure on the mother to do it all. She is better off not being with you 24/7, no matter how amazing you are.
This was so helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm glad it helped. And I think it'll help a lot of working mothers out there because we take on this burden of being it all and doing it all. And we actually then become miserable. And then we're actually, overcompensating in other ways.
Yeah. And you feel guilty for doing what you love, like you said, and you're not in setting that example. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited she gets to see me out there doing stuff. And that's
Absolutely.
such a better energy to bring her. Yeah.
Yeah. So come home not with guilt, come home with renewed energy and a renewal of resources and ideas and creativity. And that then can benefit her. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I really resonated with this last story because I too have been so consumed by guilt at many moments in my parenting. And I've seen how guilt has caused me to not only feel really bad about myself, but then to make really poor decisions in my parenting. And guilt does that. So if any parent out there is feeling guilt, and let me tell you, it is such a common thing in most women, especially if they're working or if their children are going through a hard time. We mothers, I think more stereotypically than fathers, take on this inordinate sense of over responsibility, like it was all our fault. I certainly have done that in my life. And I just want parents out there listening to understand that we are doing the best we can with the consciousness we have or have had, and expecting ourselves to be this ever-flowing beacon of perfectionism is simply unrealistic. So we must learn to accept the past and the mistakes we may or may not have made intentionally or unintentionally, and let it go. And act in the present moment with the greatest discernment and awareness and consciousness. But reverberating in our mind over and over with thoughts of the past, with obsessions about what we should have been and could have been, and are we doing it right and we could have done it better, is a recipe for disaster. So as a parent who has struggled with guilt herself, I'm here to just give you that soft invitation to release the past, release the guilt, and focus on the present moment. It's okay if you're a working mother. Like I said to Leah, it's even better, in fact, that her child has other caregivers in her life and that her child has a model of a healthy and happy mother. That is going to go so much further than a miserable mother. So learn to accept who it is you are, learn to accept your imperfections, and start releasing the guilt, because parenting out of guilt is never going to be helpful. Coming up next, a working mother of 3 children who is desperate to reconnect with her children. Joining me now is Sasha. She's the mother of 3 kids and has worked for most of their lives and is now desperate to try to make up for the lost time. Welcome, Sasha. I'm so happy you're here with us.
Hi, Dr. Shefali. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So how old are your kids?
Okay, so I've got 3 children. My oldest, Jordan, is 14, and my middle son, Jacob, is 11, and my daughter, Parker, is 7.
Okay, so are you still working full-time?
I'm working freelance right now and from home, and it's better but I'm just trying to learn how to balance it all.
Yep.
I feel like I'm on a journey of, I'm 43. I think something happens like when you turn 40. So I'm 43 now. And, I've had like this really amazing career. And a lot of that time was focused on that career. So much so that I feel like I did the things like, met my husband and like got married and like, we had these beautiful kids. And I just felt like I lost myself so much in my work that now that I'm like here, I'm like, oh shit. For example, like the other day I was at the bus stop with my daughter, which thinking now, it's like, oh my God, like years ago, I would have loved to have been able to take Jacob to the bus stop or Jordan to like, do you know what I mean? And so like, I'm so grateful for that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And then she was like on my breast and was like hugging me and like on me. And I was like, wait, is she doing that because I left her when she wasn't even 3 months old and was like bringing breast milk home and like, do you know what I mean? So it's like my mind is going to all of these different places and it just keeps me going back to, oh my God, like that wasn't cool when I did that. Or do they even remember? Like I left Jacob when he was, a baby with 103 fever.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, where are you going? And I'm like, I have a show. I have to go. Like, I have to go. And how could I have done that?
Wow. So you are really guilting yourself, huh?
Yeah.
I can see how emotional you're becoming now because you're going back in time and now you're beating yourself up for things that you've done. So this beating yourself up, is this something that you are an expert in?
I feel like I'm realizing things more now because I'm reading all the books and trying to figure out all the things and, staying in joy and all of that. And so I'm just trying to take it day by day. And when I catch myself in moments of those things, like the other day at the bus stop, it's like, girl, chill out. She's hugging you and like wants to be on you. Like, yes, it's a little weird and odd, but like, I'm just hoping that it'll all just like work out and try to stay in that space instead of, because I think my initial reaction was like, what are you doing? And then I was like, oh, wait, no, like, you probably just like need me. And like.
But then how did you go from first resisting, then embracing, but then guilting yourself?
All through my mind. All through my mind. So after she got on the bus,
right.
I'm walking back home and I'm like, oh my God, it's because I left her.
Right.
And like, now she's swallowing my breast milk 7 years later. Like,
right. But that's how overactive your mind is being now. Your daughter showed some affection in a little bit of a childish way. You went from resisting her to embracing her to then guilt-tripping you about her, but then you went into guilt-tripping yourself about the other children. And oh my goodness, I left Jacob when he had a fever for 103 and you kept going back in time. That mother guilt that we have, it's not just you. We all get consumed by it, but it's our mind going out of control, right? Our mind is now going into the past and we're trying to recreate the past in a way that can never be recreated, but also we are really hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're trying to perfect what has already passed.
Yeah.
And once again, we're not in the present moment.
Right.
Right? So this guilt keeps us constantly in the past, away from the present moment. And even if I was to tell you, I am pretty sure you did a great enough job. I'm pretty sure your kids are okay. You have to now accept that.
Yeah.
And instead of every moment in the present taking you back to what you did not do in the past, you need to accept what it is right now. So say Jacob or the other child shows some negative behaviors. Are you going to go back to the past and blame yourself now?
I'm going to try not to.
Right. See, what happens is because you cannot accept the present, because the present may be difficult, right? Something can show up in the present. Your mind is looking for an explanation.
That's so true.
You're looking for a cause. We always want to fill in the gaps with a cause. And even if the cause is completely irrational, we will blame somebody. So most
Yeah.
people externalize and blame other people, the government, politics, God, their parents.
I'm trying to get out of that way of thinking.
But you're internalizing. You're not an externalizer, but you're an internalizer. You're like, it must be me. But as if you are the God, right? You're like, oh, I'm the politician, I'm the queen, I'm the God. I'm responsible for everybody's problems.
Oh my God, I was just feeling like that upstairs. Because I'm like, oh, I got this thing that I have to do and like chat with you. And then it's like I do a scan of the house. And now that I'm saying, I feel like, do I do that to everybody?
Yeah.
It's like I'm scanning. Oh my God, what do I have to do? What do I have to figure out? And then even when I look at my husband, sometimes he's like, what? What now? Like, and I don't want, people, I don't want them to feel like that or, feel like I'm annoying them or
judging them.
Because like, that's not what I want to do.
The scanning, like, who can I fix? What can I improve? Who can I control?
Yeah, or like, how can I help? Or what do you need? Or I'm like constantly like on this
fixing.
Yeah. Make sure. Are you okay? Is everybody okay? You feel good? Are you great? Like,
but look what we're insidiously or subconsciously communicating. We're communicating, and I'm just going to be blunt, that they are idiots. The other day I was in a yoga class and the woman kept asking me, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I was very compassionate with her, but I realized, wow, she must think I'm really dumb because I don't know how to speak up for myself.
Right.
But I could see that she was being really caring, right? So I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And that's what we women who are extra uber fixers, it's our insecurity. It's actually coming from a God delusion that we know better and we can fix other people's problems and they should listen to us. And we, in doing that God kind of acting out subconsciously, we actually rob them of their wisdom, of them figuring things out, of them coming to us when they need help. But we're so into being saviors. It's our ego. You like being this, oh, I'm in charge. I'm doing so much. I'm so busy. I can tell you what's wrong with you. It's really our own need, which is coming out of a great insecurity.
Yeah.
So mom guilt is also a delusion of grandeur. Let me tell you how. So when we have guilt, we are actually looking back at our behaviors and acting as if we should have been amazing. We should have been perfect.
Right.
We shouldn't have made those mistakes.
Right.
And that is where the guilt is coming from. But if we realize that we were fumbling, mumbling, jumbling, really incomplete human beings who were very, very fragile and very imperfect, then when you look back and you think, oh my God, how did I leave Jacob at 103? You won't guilt yourself. You will accept, wow, I was clueless. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I go through moments like that of, yes, that, and like, oh, I would never do that again. But then I also don't want to like put that on myself.
Exactly. So accepting, you know what? I was clueless, or you know what? I was negligent, or you know what? Yeah, I forgot.
I was in a crazy situation that made me a bad mother. Right.
It doesn't make you a bad mother, and your kids are probably okay. It just made you a very normal, average mother. And accepting that we are normal and average is hard for super competent people like you because you're so used to being amazing. But accept that, you know what? You were just an average mother and it's okay. And that will just relieve you from this pressure of being an amazing mother. People look at me and they think I'm an amazing mother because of what I teach. And I'm the first one to tell people my amazingness is in accepting that I'm not amazing. My consciousness is about accepting that I'm not conscious, right? Who is a conscious parent? A conscious parent is somebody who totally says, I'm not conscious, because we are aware of our ego. And that human compassion for your fallibilities, for your frailties, for your imperfections, that's what's going to make you the best human to be around.
Yeah.
And it'll stop you from fixing anybody else because you're going to allow them to be human.
Yeah.
Your husband doesn't want to be your project.
Right. But like, I'll just be walking in and I think he looks at me like, oh God, babe, like what now? Like what? What did I do? What didn't I do? And I'm like, oh my God, like, no,
So now you have to embrace that you were not perfect. It is what it is, and it was what it was. Life is not perfect. You're not perfect, and you'll keep making mistakes. Now, let's just enter the present moment and do the best we can. And having that lightness about you will allow you to just move through this thing we call life and just stop taking it so seriously.
Yeah.
I haven't met a single person, Sasha, who hasn't royally effed up their children.
Yeah, I'm like figuring that out. I'm working on that.
And just understanding that this is the nature of life. And this is the nature of being human. We mess things up. And having a sense of grace around our mistakes just lightens things up. So next time you look at Jacob and he is messed up, you go, yeah, we're messed up right now. So what's the big deal? Why are we trying so hard to not be messed up?
Right. Just go with the flow. I've been saying I'm on my like Bruce Lee stuff. I just want to flow like the water. I just want to be easy. I'm working on my whole let them theory, but then I'm like, oh God. Just go ahead. Okay. And then I'm like, oh my God, are they going to be fine? But yeah, they'll be fine. I'll be fine.
We have to allow life to be a colossal shit show because it is.
That's the beauty in it, right?
Yes, exactly. So this striving for, oh, I need to be perfect and I should have been there for my children in every moment of distress is this unrealistic God delusion. Who can be there, right? I hope you do embrace this idea of imperfection and having grace and not wanting life to be perfect. Sasha, you're not perfect. Life is not perfect. Your children are not perfect and no one is perfect. And the moment you embrace that, we can all let go of the guilt.
Let go and just live and be free, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I could really relate to Sasha because I too have been so plagued by mommy guilt, you know, looking back in time, looking back at all the mistakes I made, and especially me because I teach people all the time how to be amazing. And then I think of my own mistakes and I sometimes can come down really heavy on myself, but doing the inner work to embrace my imperfections has been my salvation. And I really want to offer this to all parents who are plagued by guilt to allow themselves to have been imperfect. Just embrace it. Yes, I am imperfect and I'm going to keep being imperfect. And as much as you want to protect your children from life's imperfections or your imperfections, that is a narcissistic delusion that your children should not experience any hardship. Your children should experience only perfection. That is coming from your narcissism, that your children are so special that they need to be protected from you or from life. No, your children are ordinary, they're average, they're having an ordinary life experience, and life is really, to a large degree, a complete and colossal shit show. So accepting that, accepting your negative qualities and your negligent ways is the way to release your guilt. You are going to continue to be imperfect no matter how many times you listen to Dr. Shefali's podcast. Let me tell you, Dr. Shefali is going to keep making mistakes. And the sooner we let go of this expectation that life or you need to be a certain kind of way, the more you will embrace life with joy, with abundance, and with this sense of lightness. We all need that in our lives. So I hope this show helped you to embrace some more lightness. If you are someone who needs support in your life, who is longing for a community of people like me, then check out my conscious community. It is called the Conscious Circle. I created this conscious community because I really wanted to be surrounded by more community and by more like-hearted people like me. I wanted people like me who were on a path of transformation, of growth, of consciousness. And I wasn't being able to find it where I lived. When I went to restaurants, I wasn't finding it. When I was hanging out with people in my community, I wasn't finding it. So I decided to create an intentional community. It's online. It's for less than $25 a month. So if you want to hang out with people like me, check it out. It's called The Conscious Circle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And I hope I'll see you on the next episode of Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. Parenting and You with Dr. Shefali is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional medical, psychological, psychotherapeutic, coaching, healthcare, or other qualified professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment.